Delta Force is brimming with weapons, all of which hold hundreds of attachment options with then the ability to calibrate them down to the finest of details. But as a new player who's new to all this, I get it. It's gonna feel like an absolute mission to understand it all. You'll be unlocking stuff at a decent pace, wading your way through all the information, trying to make sense of all the individual stats that are out there. What a slog, right? To make matters even worse, you can really get most, if not all, of the weapons in this game to a point where they feel competitive if you stick with them long enough. I mean, sure, there are quote-unquote meta weapons out there that are standing out right now, like the M4A1, but I also stand by the fact that a lot of the weapons will really come to life with some work. So then comes the question of, well shit, which weapons do I prioritize as a new player? So today, I wanted to make a video that really highlighted some of the best weapons that I think new players to Delta Force in particular will really benefit from using. You know, weapons that are relatively easy to use with some solid returns on investment after unlocking some basic level attachments and then later grinding them out to a maximum level. And to make sure that this video does speak to the newer player out there, we're going to have a level 20 and a max rank build for each weapon that we talk about in this video. And all of the weapons we're going to talk about are unlocked before player rank 10. So it should really give you guys a good starting point as you rank these weapons up to max level and ensures that it's relevant to, you know, people who are new to the game. I also want to be clear as well that this is not a comment on what is meta or best, nothing like that. This is a comment on what I've found to be really good options to start the game with, and then as you expand your arsenal and your skills in the game, you can start looking at some of the other options, of which we'll be doing guides for those soon as well. And all weapon build codes that we discuss in this video are in the description down below. Alright, the first weapon I really want to draw some attention to for this video here is the CAR-15. Now, I know what you're all thinking here. Cammy, a default weapon? Really? This thing is the salt and pepper of the spice in the arsenal in this game. Why are we talking about it here? And look, I hear you guys. But on the contrary, because this weapon is a default option, I see a lot of people just sweep over it the moment they unlock something new and shiny. And sure, that makes sense because it's nothing special, but that's exactly why it's actually a staple in my loadout from time to time. By being nothing special, it's incredibly consistent and is able to pump out some work if you take your time with it. And for the newer players in the game, that's what makes this an incredibly strong pick. It's consistent without needing a lot of wrangling from you, the shooter. And look, even for me, someone who is half decent in this game, sometimes you can be having, you know, a really bad day or your aim's just off, so on and so forth. This thing will come in as a saving grace and drag me out of the pit that I'm in for a match. By level 20, you can run this build that's on your screen here, which sees us improving the recoil and the handling by a decent margin already, and given how many fights you're going to be getting into in this game where people are beaming you at decent ranges, this makes for a really nice early game answer to those pesky sweats beaming you with their M4A1s that are dialed to 11. But once you really start to put some time in with the weapon and get it to level 47, you can start running this absolute unit of a build that I've got on screen for you now that sees the weapon turn into a long-range monster with basically no recoil and incredible stability. The handling does take a step back here in this particular build, but it also allows for you to take a bit of a step into the back line here and sort of get a lay of the land of the maps and learn the game at your own pace, while having a weapon that you can reliably score some shots on if someone does try to give you a hard time. I mean, I've beamed snipers with this thing at ranges where it really shouldn't be able to. So yeah, don't sleep on the CAR-15, guys. As a new player, there's a lot to love with this one. But on the contrary, let's say you're craving some up close and personal action here, and you want to get into some more fisticuffs in the games that you're playing. The second weapon I want to throw some spotlights onto here today will do this in spades, and is only unlocked at player level 5. It's of course the SMG-45. Look, I'll be real with you guys, this ain't a video about meta weapons, as we said before, but this gun is pretty damn close to being a meta weapon here in my opinion. It's an SMG that you'll be hard pressed to not find in your matches at the moment because of how damn good and reliable it is. It holds a hefty damage model that gives it some really nice magazine efficiency in close quarters, and after a few upgrades, it even starts to come into its own at medium ranges, even against some of the assault rifles in the game, which again makes it a very reliable and consistent option for while you're learning the game without sacrificing a whole lot of, that killing potential. Given that SMGs are mainly available to the medics in the game, this is a really, really solid option while you are earning a truckload of points through support play as well. The best part is that even with a relatively low level, you can get the gun cracking heads at decent ranges. This level 20 build on screen now gets us improving our control by a serious amount while not sacrificing the handling, which gets us the benefit of running an SMG while also having the flexibility that Delta Force's maps kind of demand from us, demanding that extra engagement range at times where we just simply can't close the gap. But by the same token, as we start to enter the end game here, oh my god, does this SMG really come alive into a league of its own. The max rank build here gets the control down to an incredible 0.41 times basically across the board, and by that point, if you're still struggling to control an SMG at that point, you may want to consider playing another game, respectfully, because this is as easy as it's going to get with the SMG category. And we also get a 40 round magazine here despite only marginally impacting the handling side of things, so we kind of get to keep the best of both worlds here of having a very reliable SMG platform that can hold its own in those long-range fights while being reactive enough to handle CQC. We also have the benefit of a suppressor here as well, which I will admit does go a long way in letting you go on some of those chaotic flanks under the guise of stealth just that little bit longer. Seriously guys, pick up the SMG45 and put it to use here. This is a standout weapon for many reasons here, and it's just worth being a permanent slot in your armory, especially as a new player. But moving on here guys, let me also tell you one thing for free here. If you spend just a little bit of time getting yourself to level 8 in this game, a mere level 8, still in the single digits, you'll be rewarded by unlocking the QBZ-95-1. And I'll be honest with you guys, if there was ever a weapon that basically aimed for you in this game, this is it. Out of the gate, I would posit that the QBZ-95-1 holds one of the most controllable recoil patterns in the game, and that's without attachments. It's a recoil pattern that requires so little user input that I reckon a sloth itself would be able to control this thing given the chance. A true laser beam kind of gun, which in a laser beam gunplay game overall really is saying a lot. And it's also worth pointing out that this gun seems to have an extended maximum damage range as well. So combine the laser beam recoil with the extended damage range and oh boy, you have got a recipe for farming kills like you wouldn't believe it. Now, the moment you get this thing to a measly level 23 on its personal progression tree, you are already starting to put this thing into a beautiful spot of being able to simply look at bad guys and left click them out of existence. Now, I specify level 23 on this weapon as that's when you start to get access to the likes of the Sandstorm Vertical Compensator and the X25U Forward Grip, both of which have been some of my favorite attachments to run thus far in this game, and they're actually at a pretty low level in the progression tree for the QBZ in particular. So that's why I wanted to cater this build to 3 levels more than what we've done previously, because it just made sense for the benefit that you see with these attachments. Now, these attachments really do cater to the vertical recoil in particular, which leaves a little bit left to be desired when it comes to the horizontal recoil here. Regardless though, it's nothing that'll stop you from still going on absolutely insane beaming streaks. But no, once again, if you spend a little bit more time with the weapon here, oh guys, I cannot emphasize enough just how bloody good this thing is to use at ranges that feel illegal to do so. Once you rank the weapon up a little bit more, you get access to the likes of the cover rails, the cheek guard, improved forward grips, and even a 60 round magazine that turns this thing into a bootleg light machine gun that just slaps. I've seriously posted myself on angles with this thing and have become an immovable object just simply thanks to the amount of accurate fire that this thing can plant down range quickly with its extended maximum damage range. Now, despite this, it's not got the best DPS in the world, but that can be quickly overcome by some really good crosshair placement and going for headshots, which leads me on to why I also recommend this gun for new players. It's one of the best guns in the game to work on your crosshair placement with. The simplicity of its recoil pattern means that you can really focus on getting your shots lined up on targets' heads first and foremost, and you can still keep those shots hitting the cranium even midway through a burst. And as you develop that skill with the QBZ, and you you work on your, target headshot and target tracking skills, you can sort of build those skills up and apply those to other weapons in the game over time. You see, the QBZ is a great weapon in its own right, especially when it gets to that maximum rank, but it also makes for a great little teacher in the early game to teach you the skills necessary to really dominate with other weapons going forward, which again is why I really wanted to highlight it today. But folks, with that said, those are my 3 early game weapon suggestions for new players to really sink their teeth into and, grind out some kills with. I do truly believe that in the early game, these are some of the strongest picks and some of the strongest loadouts you could be running, but I'm very keen to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below as well, guys. Have you got any weapon builds to share in the comments that you think are also really fitting for new players? If you guys found the video enjoyable, informative, whatever the case may be sure to backhand the like button. It also does go a long way to supporting the channel. And if you're keen for more Delta Force and just first-person shooter content more broadly, hit the channel with a subscribe as well. It also goes a really long way. But until next time, guys, have a great start to your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.